And a fine howdy do to you too. How are you? Hey, ta-da! Yesterday evening, about 7 o'clock, I met some friends down at a local brew pub, Springfield Brewing Company. And this is the Brewmaster Special at the moment. I'm going to read a little bit here from a handout I got from them. They don't have it listed on their website, unfortunately. If I have a knock against Springfield Brewing Company, as they just don't seem to get their stuff together like other brew pubs do. I mean, with this bottle, for instance, they just got these generic labels rather than have a specialized label. Their website doesn't carry information on these special beers. You know, it's small things like that would really help them to be taken seriously in the craft beer world. But having said that, this is a darn fine beer. I'm going to read a little bit about it before I... Oh, great aroma. I had this at the brewery last night, so I was curious the difference between bottle and the keg, because it was absolutely beautiful. But let me read a little bit. Here, the Hip Hop series. Conceived to feature a hop variety in a big way to let our guests know what changing a hop variety means to flavor. We all know that ordering something with a pile of garlic is going to taste. But do we all understand the meaning of really hoppy beer? Almost certainly not. Enter Hip Hop, the educational beer, the beer fesser. Okay, Opus Pocus, it says. No magic here, just a serial number. In the old days, composers numbered their musical compositions with serial numbers that were called opuses, or more correctly, opera. Opus is the Latin root of operation, meaning to do something. Yep, OPUSIII is a work of art. Don't get it? Have another learn. Okay, one more time. OPUSIII, designed to feature the mosaic hop variety known Citra, a hop variety known for its citrus and fruit notes on steroids, is what some have called mosaics. Okay, I didn't do a video, but I did a short written review on it where I compared the mosaic to the Citra. So I didn't realize, but I hadn't read this yet, so that makes sense, right? It is rich in mango, lemon, citrus, earthy pine, tropical fruit, and stone fruit notes, and is paired with just enough malt to balance this beer. In wine speak, this beer is very hop forward. Cheers. Okay, the numbers are 5.5%, and 45 IBUs. Okay, well, I didn't know that earlier, and in my review I put that I thought it was between 5 and 5.5%, and I was about right. So, 54 IBUs. Okay. So if we're comparing IPA styles, oh, God. If we're comparing IPA styles, okay. If we're comparing IPA styles, this is, stats-wise, 5.5, 54, a little smaller than most current craft IPAs, which generally run between, 6 to 7%, some a little higher, some a little lower, and most run between 60 and 70%, some a little higher, some a little lower. This at 5.5, 54 is on the low end. There is a kind of a subset of IPAs now that seem to draw some controversy. You got the Founders All Day, the Lagunitas Daytime. Schlafly has an IPA can in the can called their Session IPA. Most of them run, between 4.5% to 5%. And there's some squawker. Is it a real style or not? Some people just like to make waves where there isn't any. Drink it if you like it. It shouldn't matter what you call a beer. If you like it, drink it. If not, don't drink it. Don't fuss over what it's called. But that's another argument. This one kind of sits in between those. Do I think 5.5 is small enough in the IBV category to be called a session? Well, yeah, personally I do. But some draw the line at 4.5. Oh, the aroma is, in my written review, I said it opens up with a lot of tropical notes, because that's what I got from the brewery yesterday. I'm getting the same here. Oh, goodness. It does open up with the tropical notes, but then you get some softer stone fruit, and then it kind of morphs and gets a little more aggressive in the finish, where you get larger citrus, grapefruit coupled with some pine, and these big black pepper notes at the end that is just absolutely gorgeous. This does feel bigger than what the stats tell me at 5.554. And regardless of what you think of those particular stats, I think there's enough going on here to please any hophead. And I am going to call it a session for a couple reasons. One, I don't think 5.5 is too big personally. And I think flavor-wise, yeah, it is big. It is going to wear the palate after a while. But yeah, I think if you brought a 6-pack to a barbecue or a poker game or whatever, yeah, I think that this is a beer that you could session on all night because it is so enjoyable. And I think, when people talk about session beers, they put too much stock into just the ABV. I think the whole package has to come in. Not only is it light enough where you're able to drink 6 of over a period of time, it should be enjoyable enough where you're not drinking water all night long. I mean, there should be some flavor going on with there. So on that front, yeah, I'm going to call it a session. Oh. Am I detecting any difference from the tap last night? Well, it's hard to say. Without doing them right side by side, it's hard to say because your palate is different. My palate may be different from last night to tonight, so it's really would be hard to get an accurate gauge like that unless I was at the bar. I had them pour me one and then pour the bottle right then and then taste them both side by side to do it accurately. But with what I am tasting right now, I'm going to try to wing it and tell you I do feel I'm getting more, I'm feeling more citrus, I guess, a bigger grapefruit than I did yesterday. Yesterday I got a whole bunch more of the tropical fruit notes, but again, that could just be, could be, my atmosphere, the taste buds. I mean, there's a, and it could be different with the next one. So. Either way, this is a beautiful beer. It may be one of the best I've ever had from Springfield Brewing Company, possibly even the best. It is a beautiful IPA. I love the OPUSIII. And again, it's one of those things that was so long ago that it would be hard for me to really compare them to see which one I like better, because I really enjoyed that one at the time too. And the only way to know is if they had both of them on the tap and I could try one and then the other. But I think the series is phenomenal. I haven't had a bad one yet from that series. And this type of hop is real popular at the moment. The Citra hop is real big because it encompasses so many flavors, because you've got those big tropical fruit notes, and almost everything Citra hopped, you get those big tropical notes, mango, passion fruit, etc., etc. This Mosaic does almost the same thing. Well, it does all that actually on a different scale, but it also brings some other things to the party. The addition of the tropicals, along with, you get, and it could be some of the malt I'm tasting, where I'm also getting some of the stone fruit, peach, apricot, some softer notes in there, and then I'm whacked by heavy citrus, big pine notes, and just these beautiful, just kind of black pepper notes that just kind of hit you right at the very end. Because, well, I think it works because it gives you a balance with all that tropical going on. So some of the Citra hop beers, I see, once you kind of get a bead on all that fruit, they tend to be one-dimensional. The addition of the other things here just make it beautiful. This was, well, it was, because it's called, it was. What was it, Tom? It was the first beer of the day from the Springfield Brewing Company. Thank you, Springfield Brewing Company. I am starting to dig you a little more than I used to. I just wish you would kind of you know, maybe get a little more professional and start to, I know it's going to cost money to do labels, but it sure would go a long way to, help you being taken seriously if you actually had labels that said what the beer was. If they had, so OPUS 3, I mean, you could make a great label for something called OPUS, OPUS 1, OPUS 2, OPUS 3, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, I've ran a little long, so I'm going to get out of here. If you're ever through the Springfield Brewing Company and they have any of these on tap, you need to try, especially if you're a hophead. The OPUS 3 is a beautiful IPA. Go get it. Hold on. There we go. That almost sounded like Toolin's throat singing. But anyway, I gotta go. Bye.